Hi, my name is Sue. I am one of Dutchsinse's moderators, and I will show you a video so that you can translate into different languages on how to forecast earthquakes using his method. So first we will translate this video and I will show you. So different languages, and we have a video here. So this is how you translate on YouTube. So once you do that, you should be able to read what I am talking about. On a mobile phone, you have 3 dots on the top right corner, and that is where you can change the languages as well. Okay, so first to learn to forecast is to first download this map with the arrows and study this map and learn where the arrows are and try and memorize the whole planet. And you will notice that the arrows all move one way towards the mid-Atlantic ridge, and it also goes around the Pacific Ocean clockwise around the Ring of Fire towards the other side, meeting again the mid-Atlantic ridge. This map you can download if you put in Dutchsinse pressure transfer map. You should be able to download this for free. The next thing you also need is, if you have a mobile phone you have Android, get the apps Earthquake Tracker. Okay. What is also useful is to get the Volcano Discovery app. This does volcano eruptions as well as earthquakes, so maybe this is all you need, and it also has maps. The important thing is to have maps to show you where the earthquakes are. This is the app I use on Android, so it has maps. It also has live alerts. You can also program it so that it will tell you where you want an alert. So I have set mine to alert me if there's an earthquake near or in Fiji, and also if it will tell me any earthquakes around the world from magnitude 5 upwards. So that's how I set up my alerts, and then I don't need a computer. I can be somewhere else and know what is coming. And I check it like the weather. And what's interesting is that I do not live in a country that has any earthquakes. There's no earthquakes where I am. Very, very, very rare that we might feel something, but I've never felt one in my life. But I studied this because I am interested. Okay, so there's the apps, and then Dutchsinse's program here. I will show you how you can get this if you have a laptop. So if you put earthquake 3D in Google, you got earthquake3d.com. This is the website based software where you already have the program. You can click solid to make it clearer to read, and let me just check my video is working. Yes. It is very basic. There's not very many reports on it, but it is good to start with to give you an idea. it's based on, I think, just the USGS reports. And so this is a nice place to start. If you want an app on your iPhone, they have got them for iPhone. I've never used it, but have a go, try it. They also have, if you have a Windows PC, you can download a free version of the software that looks similar to this. If you are like me and want to be more advanced, you can buy the software, and it has more advanced features, so you've got more options here, and you can put your own images with the arrows. Now, I have studied the progression that Dutch has been teaching, that I don't really need arrows. I've memorized it, and it is very important that you learn this direction, these arrows. At the moment, it is the 2nd of October, and we are going through a very difficult time in Indonesia, where there are several hundreds to thousands of fatalities. We've had numerous in Lombok and now Sulawesi, with a tsunami that's unexpectedly larger than thought, with the size earthquake, which they had a 7.5. There are many deaths involved, and we're just investigating, working on that now. At the moment, we have had quite large, deep earthquakes in Fiji. So on this map, Fiji is north of New Zealand, and on this map you have the letter D's, which indicates where the deep earthquakes appear. Deep earthquakes are important because they cause larger, shallower earthquakes on the surface of the planet. And Fiji is the place that has the most frequently and the most impact around the world. This is why I've set my alert to Fiji, and then I can tell, I will know what will happen on the rest of the planet. So monitor Fiji carefully, and then you have some time in advance to plan, or just to be aware of what is happening around the world, to tell your friends, your family, if you know people across the planet. But we want this to be as a normal, accepted knowledge, like the weather. If the hurricane is approaching and you know this on the news, it's the same with earthquakes. We want to change that. So when a deep earthquake appears in Fiji or wherever these locations are, it causes upward pressure from deep inside the earth. Deep earthquakes can be up to 750 kilometers deep. That's the most that we can record, I think. And it will, it's also been described like a lava lamp, those decorative lights with lava, where the wax goes up and it pushes, if you imagine the lava pushes up and moves the tectonic plates around here, as you can see where my lines are, my blue lines, as well as the arrows. And as that pushes up, the rock surface of the planet will move along the edges. The edges of the tectonic plates will grind, and that's where we start monitoring which way the pressure moves. It almost behaves like rivers of rock along the fault lines, and that's how I imagine the pressure move. Wherever the deep earthquakes appear, you get the large magnitudes, and they will decrease in size as they follow towards the mid-Atlantic ridge. So you follow the arrows, and as they decrease, they do eventually reach to the other side, say the UK, Portugal, and then they reach these X points, which are termination points. If you imagine a train, the start point is the D, and then it finishes at the end of the line at the X. see on this map, the other side, it will go around the Ring of Fire along the west coast of the US and eventually meets the Mid-Atlantic Ridge again. If you have a three-dimensional globe, you will notice it will start from one side and then reach to the other both ways round. So that is how you read this map. Please try and memorize this progression. Another way to learn this is to study satellite imagery of the map. You can see mountain ranges, they look like rivers, and Iran is a very good example of the flow of rocks. And same for the Himalayas in China, Tibet and Nepal, and you can see these mountain ranges that flow along where the arrows and the fault lines are. We have actually got more arrows than you can see fault lines. Okay, so I'll show you two websites now. If you go to Google and go to EMSC, this is the European Seismic Agency, and they cover worldwide reports. And if you click on 48 hours, this is the view that you need to see. If you click on to zoom in your areas, there is more detail, more reports shown. So to work out how to forecast, you have to know where your deep earthquakes are, and then you work out from where they are, follow your arrows, and then look for silent zones. To find silent zones, you follow your arrows. So if I try and get this on my software to work, okay, so here, just make the rings a bit bigger. Right, here is an example of a silent zone. So you follow the fault lines and the arrows. Where there are two earthquakes, you look for the central point, and that is your next vulnerable area. If you've got a bend in the plate, or where the arrows are, it's the same. You follow the bends. So if my computer can manage this, see there's a bend here. There's an earthquake here and one there. The middle point is roughly somewhere here. If you just find a... My computer is slow because I'm recording this video. So here it's sort of central Japan. Oh, actually, make sure you've got the last 48-hour view. Sorry, I've got that wrong. So here, now I have to show you on the map on this one, for example. So North Japan has earthquakes, and then somewhere in the Aleutian Islands, and the arrows go up this way clockwise around the Ring of Fire, remember? And the central point is here, including counting this bend. Same here, the middle point is vulnerable next. Same here, another next. And it's usually within a day to 7 days that these areas get hit. Sometimes they can take longer to reach, for example, the other side of the world, where there are less earthquakes. It seems to take from Fiji to get to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge about 7 to 10 days. And that's why Dutch does videos every week. Okay, the USGS also do a map for reports as well. The USGS is American and the EMSC is European. Both agencies cover global earthquakes around the world with maps. It's good to check these two, and also if you, wherever you live, you check your local seismic agency for more detail and more data. Then the more data you have, the more you can calculate your forecasts. The word forecast means to use the data that you have, the current official data that you have, and calculate what will happen next. There is room for error, and behaviors of these results can change. For example, maybe an unexpected earthquake hits somewhere slightly different to where you forecasted, and then your next forecast will change again. Same with volcano eruptions, they can interrupt your forecast. So if you know your volcano eruptions as well, this is also useful. So on Volcano Discovery website.com, if you go to news, I think this is where you can check your volcano eruptions. But the website I have saved, which is volcano.discovery.com/news/VAAC/latest-reports.html. This is the more clear listing of volcano eruptions. So volcano eruptions also affect your forecast of earthquakes. So Krakatoa is erupting, which means this is almost like a silent zone, and it will interfere with what will happen next. Also, Cinnabung is here, volcano. It has not erupted since the 20th of June. So this is sort of something to keep in mind once you memorize your locations. Okay, so I think I've said that with Indonesia we have some problems at the moment with several fatalities. It's the 2nd of October now, and there are a number of earthquakes happening in Indonesia, and since then we've had a problem with Hawaii, and no, we've had a problem with Hawaii since April 2018, and the change of behavior in Hawaii with the volcano eruption that had erupted a huge amount of lava at sea has never been recorded in history. It's been more than double than the last time it erupted, with at least 450 million cubic meters of lava. In 1840 or 1844, it was 205 million. So with that amount of lava erupting, it's doing something inside the planet that is going to shift everything around on the surface as well. So shortly after the eruption stopped, we had 40 deep earthquakes in Fiji in one day, and that caused lots of 6s and 7s earthquakes around the planet. And unfortunately, Indonesia is being hit quite badly. If you think of a deep earthquake pushing up, you can see this is a fault line here, a plate. If this is pushing up here, then it's almost like if you imagine pushing up one part of a table, and then it pivots around here, and then the other side gets affected. This is how Dutchsinse describes the compensation movement around the edges of the plate from one side to the other, and then pivot points as well. So this could be what's happening now, and so leverage, as we call it, or seesaw on a ride. You've got one end going up, the other goes down, and then the central point as well. So hopefully that will make more sense. I'll just show you who I am. I'm a moderator of Dutchsinse. I did the arrows on the map for him. I have memorized these, so it does help to do that. I also run the Facebook page Earthquake and Weather Facebook, but you can search, and I have had a number of Indonesian viewers recently, so it's a very desperate situation there at the moment. We really hope that people will take notice of what we do, what Dutchsinse does, just make this public awareness. We are working very hard at making this official knowledge, but it is not an easy battle, but we are trying our best. Okay, hopefully this is useful for you, and be safe, and remember to monitor the world when it comes to seismic activity. If you live in vulnerable areas, remember to monitor far out what around the planet, particularly Fiji. And there is no such thing as too far away when it comes to earthquakes. I actually live in England. I don't get many earthquakes at all, but I know what is coming, and the UK has had some mid twos, and North Germany has had a 3.8, so it's getting very close. The amount of activity in Fiji at the moment and the West Pacific is beginning to affect us in the UK. So this is why it is important that this becomes global knowledge and we know what's coming. But we should not be scared of this. It should be part of everyday life, like the weather, and we can live with nature as it does its thing. Okay, take care all, be safe, and I shall be in touch soon. Thank you.